Apple will no longer be able to use lightning cables in its phones. At face value, this seems like a good thing, but there is a possibility that it could have unintended economic consequences. So let's run through the relevant issues. The EU has mandated that smartphones and other products that use charging and data cables must use USB-C for all products sold after December 2024. The EU's Radio Equipment Directive has been amended to require the inclusion of USB Type-C receptacles and cables on the following products. It includes mobile phones and most rechargeable products, but not laptops, which have different technical requirements. One of the great achievements of the European Union is the harmonisation of technical standards across the whole EU. Standardisation can help both consumers and business. Consumers because it makes products easier to compare, and it also makes it easier to switch between products, which helps to keep the market competitive. For EU business, standardisation allows access to the massive single market through conforming to a single regulation. In the context of smartphones and other similar equipment, it's certainly true that we all end up with a box full of assorted wires and power bricks, and when travelling having to carry a mixture of charging equipment. The new rules will have some benefits. Firstly, ensuring consumer convenience and interoperability. Secondly, reducing electronic waste. And thirdly, avoiding fragmentation of the market for charging devices. The biggest impact of these new rules will be on Apple. The iPhone still uses the proprietary Lightning cable. There are strong rumours that the iPhone 15, which is due next month, will have USB-C more than a year before it's actually required. Of course, these rules only apply for the EU market, so in principle Apple could produce USB-C iPhones for the EU market, but continue to sell Lightning phones in the rest of the world, which of course includes the UK after Brexit. At face value, the USB-C standardisation seems highly desirable. However, I think there's a number of issues that perhaps make the analysis of this directive a little bit more complex. First, Apple has argued that in fact it creates more waste. Cables and accessories that might still have a useful life will become obsolete. Apple estimates that 250 million Lightning cables and accessories have entered the European market in the past 3 years, and would still be usable on older models. The second complexity is that it's not clear what effect this will have on innovation. There are many different types of USB-C cable, and the technology is constantly changing. By mandating a particular technology, the EU may be distorting the normal course of the market. This is regulating yesterday's technology, whereas what really matters are the new technologies that will emerge over the next few years. Innovative technologies do allow businesses to differentiate their products, creating value that allows them to sell them for higher prices. Harmonisation may actually end up lowering the level of innovation by reducing the possibility to increase profits through innovative differences in products. Apple certainly doesn't compete on price. It competes on product quality, service and innovation. There is a risk that any attempt at regulating this will actually lower the overall level of innovation. Now, I'm old enough to remember well the VHS versus Betamax war in the 1980s. These were two types of video cassettes, each with their own players and not compatible with each other. Each had their advantages, but it was competition that eventually resulted in VHS becoming the dominant technology. However, this was then superseded by DVDs, which in turn has now been superseded by streaming. Of course, this isn't an argument against regulators making standards, but it does mean that it's important that the balance is right between encouraging conformity, which will bring economic advantages, and damaging the normal evolution of innovation. Overall, I don't think it's easy to say whether the balance is right in the EU's USB-C directive. I think it's probably popular with consumers, including many iPhone geeks who've been asking for USB-C for a while. I'm not sure I take Apple's point about it creating new waste of redundant Lightning cables. Whilst it's certainly true in itself, it's still likely that in the long run this is better for the environment in terms of e-waste. In the case of any new environmental legislation, there's probably simply always likely to be a cost in terms of a switchover. In terms of the directive's broader economic impact, whether this aids or hinders future innovation is anyone's guess at the moment. I lean towards thinking that regulators should be extra careful when making interventions with evolving technology. We have competition policy in place to ensure that if companies do abuse their market power by unfairly differentiating their products, firm action can be taken. Perhaps we should leave it to that. I hope you found this information useful. If you did, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Much appreciated. Thanks for watching. See you next time.